Remember when British homes looked remarkably similar? Not by choice, but because certain things were non-negotiable. Gradually, those shared items vanished, and homes stopped feeling familiar. These weren't optional. They were essentials every family owned. The first one still starts fights. Even Dad couldn't program it. VHS video recorder. VHS video recorders arrived in British homes throughout the late 1970s and exploded in popularity during the 1980s. The bulky machines sat beneath televisions, allowing families to record programs and rent films from video shops. By the mid-1980s, owning a VHS recorder signified keeping up with modern technology. The recorder's purpose was revolutionizing television viewing. No longer dictated by broadcast schedules, families could record programs and watch at convenient times. The flashing 12 o'clock became legendary because nobody could program the timer properly. VHS liberated viewing habits while creating new rituals around video rental. You'd watch your dad attempt programming the VHS timer every Sunday, consulting the thick manual while swearing quietly. The clock always flashed 12 o'clock because nobody successfully set it. Recording programs meant inserting blank tapes, checking recording speed settings, and hoping you'd catch the right channel. Your mum would label recorded tapes meticulously with dates and program names using biro on white stickers. VHS dominated until DVD-S arrived in the late 1990s. The format became obsolete by the 2000s as digital recording replaced tape. Telephone directories, Yellow Pages. Yellow Pages arrived at British homes annually throughout the 1980s, landing with a satisfying thud through letterboxes. These massive yellow directories listed every business by category, from accountants to zoos. Distribution reached approximately 20 million households. Almost everyone with a landline received one completely free. The directory's purpose was connecting people with local services without needing operator assistance. Finding plumbers, electricians, taxi firms, or takeaways meant flipping through yellow-edged pages until locating the right category. The distinctive "Let your fingers do the walking" slogan and J.R. Hartley television advertisements became cultural touchstones. Businesses paid for larger display advertisements to stand out. You'd watch your mum searching the Yellow Pages every Friday night, finger running down columns looking for pizza delivery numbers. And the massive book sat permanently on the shelf under the hallway phone. Your dad would frantically flip pages during plumbing emergencies, leaving finger smudges on yellow paper. Kids used old copies as booster seats at dinner tables. The internet killed Yellow Pages completely. Printed publications stopped in 2019, replaced entirely by Google searches and online directories. Argos catalogue. Argos catalogues landed at British homes throughout the 1980s, with approximately 75% of households, roughly 15 million homes, receiving the thick laminated book. This free publication contained everything from toys to televisions, jewellery to garden furniture. Spring and autumn editions arriving felt like major events. The catalogue's purpose was revolutionising shopping through the reservation system. Families spent hours flipping through pages, circling desired items with biros, and writing 6-digit catalogue numbers on order slips. Shopping meant queuing in store, filling forms at counters, paying at tills, then waiting while warehouse staff retrieved purchases from behind mysterious plastic curtains. You'd tear open the new catalogue when it arrived through the letterbox, immediately flipping to the toy section at the back. Christmas lists consisted entirely of 6-digit catalogue numbers written in careful columns. Birthday shopping meant Argos trips, waiting impatiently while numbers flashed on electronic boards above collection points. Your mum kept old catalogues for school craft projects, cutting out pictures for collages. The catalogue ceased printing in 2020 as online shopping replaced laminated pages. The ritual became entirely digital. TV Guide/Radio Times. Radio Times and TV Times magazines arrived at newsagents every Thursday throughout the 1980s, selling at 25 to 30 pence per issue. Radio Times reached circulation peaks of 2.8 million weekly copies, with the 1988 Christmas edition selling an astonishing 11.2 million copies. Britain's biggest selling magazine issue ever. The magazine's purpose was planning weekly viewing in an era before electronic program guides. Radio Times exclusively listed BBC programmes while TV Times covered ITV schedules, forcing households to buy both for complete listings. Families studied pages carefully, planning entire weeks of television viewing in advance. You'd watch your mum grab the new Radio Times every Thursday, immediately checking weekend schedules. Saturday mornings meant studying the Christmas edition together, circling films and specials in biro across double-page spreads. Arguments erupted when two family members wanted different programs scheduled simultaneously on different channels. Old issues piled in magazine racks beside armchairs for future reference. Electronic program guides killed the TV listings magazine market. Digital television provided on-screen guides, making printed listings obsolete. Rotary/push button. Landline telephones spread through British homes during the 1980s, installed permanently by British telecom engineers. Installation cost £30 to £50, plus quarterly rental charges of approximately £15 to £20. Most homes had one phone, typically positioned in hallways. The fashionable trim phone cost £40 to £60, featuring a distinctive warbling ring. The telephone's purpose was connecting families to the outside world without leaving home. Calls cost money, especially long-distance trunk calls, keeping conversations brief and purposeful. Teenagers monopolized phones for hours, stretching coiled cords into nearby rooms seeking privacy. You'd wait ages for your turn on the phone, listening to the rotary dial, clicking back slowly after each number. Your mum timed teenage calls with kitchen timers, shouting 3 minutes from across the house. Long-distance calls only happened after 6 o'clock when cheap rates began. The family argued constantly over who'd been hogging the phone when someone tried calling in. Mobile phones destroyed the shared family landline culture. Everyone now carries private devices with unlimited calls. Those first 5 items defined 1980s communication and entertainment, all gone now. The next items represented comfort and respectability in British homes. They weren't about technology or convenience. They were about tradition, standards, and keeping up appearances. Here's number 6, coal scuttle. Coal scuttles sat beside fireplaces in British homes throughout the 20th century, declining rapidly during the 1980s as central heating spread to 64% of households. These metal or brass containers held coal for feeding open fires. Decorative brass versions cost £15 to £30, while simple metal buckets cost £5 to £10. The coal scuttle's purpose was storing fuel conveniently beside fires requiring constant feeding throughout winter evenings. Filling scuttles meant trudging outside to coal bunkers in all weathers, hand-carrying heavy loads back indoors. The routine represented an era when home heating required daily physical labour. You'd watch your dad fill the scuttle from the outdoor coal bunker, black dust covering his hands and clothes. The living room fire needed constant feeding throughout cold evenings. Black smudges appeared on walls where people leaned near fireplaces. Your mum spread newspapers around hearths to catch falling coals and ash. The fire required riddling, banking, and careful tending. Central heating made coal fires obsolete. Scuttles became decorative ornaments or disappeared entirely as fireplaces were sealed. SodaStreams appeared in British kitchens throughout the 1980s with 40% of homes, approximately 8.4 million households, owning one at the decade's peak. The machine cost £15 to £25. So with CO2 gas refills costing £3 to £5 at Boots or local hardware shops. The SodaStream's purpose was creating homemade fizzy drinks more economically than buying branded bottles. The famous advertising slogan, "Get busy with the fizzy," became embedded in British popular culture. Machines came in cream, brown or white plastic housings. Families refilled CO2 canisters at local shops when gas ran out. You'd press the carbonation button too enthusiastically, causing fizzy liquid to explode everywhere while your mum shouted warnings from across the kitchen. The CO2 cartridge hissed loudly, transforming flat cordial into sparkling drinks. Kids competed fiercely over whose turn to press the button. Your dad brought home new syrup flavours. Cola, lemonade, cream soda, costing about £1 each. Homemade versions never tasted quite like branded drinks. A cheap supermarket own-brand fizzy drinks undercut SodaStream's economic appeal. Machines gathered dust in cupboards by the mid-1990s. Hostess trolleys appeared in British dining rooms during the 1970s and remained fixtures through the 1980s. These wheeled heated cabinets kept food warm during dinner parties and Sunday roasts. Models cost £60 to £150, depending on size and features. Hundreds of thousands of middle-class homes proudly owned them. The trolley's purpose was maintaining food temperature during formal meals and multi-course dinner parties. Electric heating elements kept plates and serving dishes warm, while hosts served courses gracefully. They symbolized aspirational middle-class entertaining and proper dinner party etiquette. Rolling them from kitchen to dining room felt sophisticated. But you'd watch your mum load the trolley with heated plates before Sunday lunch, wheeling it carefully into the dining room. The chrome and imitation wood design looked expensive and impressive to guests. Dinner parties meant the trolley appearing with steaming vegetables and gravy boats. Your dad plugged it in hours beforehand, ensuring proper heating. The trolley hummed quietly, radiating warmth. Informal eating habits and open-plan kitchens killed the Hostess trolley. Microwave reheating replaced heated serving cabinets completely. Flying ducks on the wall. Flying ducks hung on British walls throughout the 20th century, reaching peak popularity in the 1940s to 1950s, but remaining common through the 1980s. These ceramic wall ornaments typically showed 3 ducks flying in ascending diagonal formation across living room walls. The sets cost £5 to £20, depending on quality. The duck's purpose was decorative, demonstrating taste and respectability in working-class and middle-class homes. Popular manufacturers like Beswick created the most sought-after versions. Traditional arrangements showed 3 graduated ducks ascending diagonally above fireplaces or sofas, suggesting flight and movement. You lie on the sofa staring at 3 ceramic ducks flying across your nan's living room wall, arranged perfectly in size order from small to large. Every relative's house displayed them, sometimes ducks, sometimes swans or geese. They collected dust constantly, requiring careful washing during spring cleaning. Removing them years later left 3 distinct marks on faded wallpaper, perfectly outlining where they'd hung for decades. So changing interior design tastes made flying ducks seem desperately old-fashioned. Modern homes rejected them as kitsch relics from another era. Teasmade sat on British bedside tables throughout the 1970s and 1980s, particularly in older people's bedrooms. These electric combination devices merged alarm clocks with automatic tea-making equipment, brewing fresh tea to wake sleepers. They cost £30 to £60 depending on features and brand. Thousands of homes featured them. The Teasmade's purpose was providing fresh, hot tea automatically at wake-up time without leaving bed's warmth. Built-in alarm clocks triggered heating elements that boiled water, then poured it into small teapots at programmed times. The device represented peak British tea culture and bedroom convenience perfectly combined. Thought you'd hear your nan's Teasmade clicking and hissing mechanically at 7 every morning, followed immediately by the alarm ringing. Steam rose from the little kettle as tea brewed automatically on the bedside table. Her bedroom smelled permanently of tea. Setting the Teasmade before bed became a nightly ritual. Filling the miniature kettle, adding tea bags to the tiny pot, setting the alarm time. Modern kettles and coffee makers replaced Teasmades completely. Bedrooms no longer accommodate bulky brewing equipment. Those middle items represented British traditions fading fast: coal fires, formal dinners, decorative ornaments and automatic tea making. The final items weren't exotic or expensive. They were everyday things so common nobody noticed them, yet they defined British domestic life completely. Here's number 11. Drinks cabinet / home bar. Drinks cabinets stood prominently in British living rooms throughout the 1970s and 1980s, becoming fixtures in aspirational middle-class homes. These wooden cabinets with glass doors displayed bottle collections, glassware sets, and cocktail equipment in organised arrangements. Quality models ranged from £80 to £200, depending on size, wood type, and craftsmanship. Hundreds of thousands of homes featured them as living room centerpieces. The cabinet's purpose was serving drinks during entertaining while simultaneously displaying alcohol collections as status symbols and markers of sophistication. Interiors held sherry, whiskey, gin, port and liqueurs arranged alongside matching glass sets, often wedding gifts never actually used. After the ritual of offering a drink from the cabinet represented hospitality and social sophistication in British culture. Many cabinets featured locks preventing children from accessing alcoholic contents, though keys often went missing. You'd watch your dad open the cabinet ceremoniously before guests arrived, arranging bottles attractively and checking glass supplies meticulously. Most bottles stayed virtually full for years, only emerging during special occasions like Christmas or milestone birthdays. Your dad would pour sherries carefully into tiny crystal glasses for ladies, whiskey for gentlemen. The cabinet interior smelled permanently of old alcohol and furniture polish combined. Coloured bottles, green gin, amber whiskey, ruby port, sparkled impressively behind glass doors under internal cabinet lighting. And the bottom cupboard stored rarely used cocktail shakers, bottle openers, and cocktail stick collections gathering dust. Open-plan living and casual entertaining habits killed formal drinks cabinets completely. Modern homes store alcohol casually in kitchen cupboards or wine racks, not display furniture. The ritual of formal drink service from dedicated cabinets vanished entirely. Hi-fi system/stereo. Hi-fi stereo systems dominated British living rooms during the 1980s, with 77% of music listeners using component systems regularly. These weren't compact devices, but elaborate setups with separate turntables, cassette decks, amplifiers and speakers stacked together. Complete systems cost anywhere from £200 to £800, depending on brand quality and component specifications. The stereo's purpose was playing physical music formats, vinyl records, hard cassette tapes and radio broadcasts with superior sound quality that single-unit players couldn't match. Component systems stacked impressively in dedicated cabinets or shelving units specifically designed for audio equipment. Popular brands like Technics, Pioneer, Sony and Amstrad dominated British homes with their silver-faced equipment and glowing VU meters. Graphic equalizers with dancing LED lights showing sound levels across different frequencies were particularly prized features that looked futuristic and professional. You'd remember your dad's treasured system occupying the entire living room corner, strictly forbidden from touching without his explicit permission. Records required careful handling by edges only, never touching the delicate grooves with fingers. Making mixtapes meant recording from the radio, time frantically pausing between songs to avoid capturing DJ chatter and advertisements. The tape deck occasionally ate cassettes catastrophically, requiring delicate pencil unwinding rescue missions to save precious recordings. Speakers thumped walls during parties, vibrating ornaments dangerously off shelves and annoying neighbours through shared walls. Parties meant someone controlling the music constantly, flipping records every 20 minutes and changing tapes every 45 minutes. Your dad's record collection displayed his musical taste and cultural knowledge to visitors. Portable CD players, iPods and Bluetooth speakers killed component hi-fi systems completely. Music became invisible, digital, and cloud-based rather than physical objects requiring careful handling and dedicated furniture. High net curtains. Net curtains hung in every British window throughout the 20th century, reaching peak ubiquity during the 1980s. The white, translucent fabric allowed daylight in while preventing neighbours from seeing inside clearly. Nets cost around £5 to £15 per window, depending on size. Net curtains represented respectability, privacy, and proper housekeeping standards that defined British domestic culture. The curtains served dual purposes, maintaining privacy without blocking natural light and displaying cleanliness to neighbours and passers-by. Keeping nets pristine white required regular washing, and yellowed nets signalled neglect. Net curtains allowed discreet observation of street activity while preventing outsiders from observing your family, creating one-way visibility that defined British neighbourly relations. So every respectable home had them fitted to front-facing windows especially. Your mum would wash net curtains every few months, the house smelling of washing powder while they dried on enormous expanding frames in the garden. Taking them down revealed how dirty windows actually were underneath. You'd help hang them back up, feeding fabric onto expanding wire frames that stretched across windows. Neighbours' nets served as status indicators. Bright white nets meant house-proud residents. Yellowed nets meant letting standards slip badly. Everyone judged everyone else's nets from the street. Net curtains declined from the 2000s as privacy concerns decreased, and open-plan living replaced formal front rooms. Venetian blinds, roller blinds, and plantation shutters replaced nets in modern homes. The universal white nets disappeared completely, ending a century-old British tradition of lace-covered windows. Tea cozies sat on British teapots throughout the 20th century, remaining common through the 1980s. These insulated fabric covers kept teapots warm, usually made from quilted materials or knitted wool. Homemade versions were common, though shop-bought ones cost £3 to £8. Tea cozies represented proper tea-making traditions and domestic craft skills. The tea cozie's purpose was maintaining tea temperature during the sacred British ritual of letting the tea brew properly. Covers trapped heat, keeping pots warm for second and third cups without reheating. Decorative designs ranged from simple quilted patterns to elaborate knitted creations shaped like cottages, chickens, or characters. Many families received handmade tea cozies as gifts from relatives. Now, you'd watch your nan place the knitted cosy carefully over the teapot after pouring boiling water, letting tea brew for exactly 3 minutes underneath. The cosy sat permanently beside the kettle, ready for the next pot. Your mum's collection included several, a chicken-shaped one for weekends, a plain quilted one for every day. Lifting the cosy released a burst of tea-scented steam. The fabric became stained brown over years of use, absorbing tea's tannins permanently. Tea cozies declined as electric kettles replaced teapot brewing completely. Modern British households make tea directly in mugs, 1 cup at a time, rather than brewing full pots requiring warming. The ritual of making proper pot tea vanished along with tea cozies. Craft shops still sell them as nostalgic novelties. But functional daily use disappeared entirely from British kitchens. Cheese plant/rubber plant. Cheese plants and rubber plants filled British homes throughout the 1970s and 1980s, becoming ubiquitous houseplants in living rooms and hallways. These large tropical plants with distinctive leaves cost £5 to £20, depending on size. Cheese plants featured split, holy leaves, while rubber plants had glossy, dark green foliage. They represented fashionable interior decoration and plant care dedication. The plant's purpose was bringing nature indoors while filling empty corners with impressive greenery. Cheese plants, Monstera deliciosa, grew rapidly, with dramatic split leaves creating tropical ambience. Rubber plants, Ficus elastica, offered glossy architectural foliage requiring minimal maintenance. Both species tolerated low light and neglect reasonably well, making them perfect for British homes. Large specimens became living room focal points, displayed in ceramic pots on plant stands. You'd remember your mum's massive cheese plant dominating the living room corner, leaves spreading across the ceiling. Dusting the enormous leaves became a weekly chore, wiping each one carefully with damp cloths to remove dust and restore shine. The rubber plant stood in the hallway, leaves so glossy they reflected light. Your dad's attempts at taking cuttings usually resulted in sad, wilted stems in water glasses. Moving house meant carefully transporting enormous plants through doorways without damaging leaves. But cheese plants and rubber plants fell dramatically out of fashion during the 1990s as minimalist interior design rejected large houseplants. The plants became associated with outdated 1970s decor. Interestingly, cheese plants experienced a major revival in the 2010s, becoming trendy again among millennials. However, the universal 1980s ubiquity never returned. They're now optional design choices rather than standard household items. These 15 items didn't just disappear because tastes changed. The entire system that created them collapsed completely. Shared television schedules vanished when streaming offered unlimited choice and on-demand viewing. The shared family landline disappeared when everyone carried personal mobile devices with unlimited calls and constant connectivity. You raced home to catch programs broadcast once and never repeated. Missing them meant waiting months for unlikely repeats. You shared one telephone positioned in the hallway, one television dominating the living room, one set of viewing choices with your entire family daily. Modern homes offer convenience, choice, and personalization beyond anything imaginable in the 1980s. Instant access, unlimited options, and individual control have transformed domestic life completely. But they've eliminated the communal rhythms that synchronized British family life across the nation. The structures that shaped daily routines, forced family interaction, and created shared national experiences have been replaced entirely by on-demand individualism, personal devices, and instant digital access to everything imaginable.